Your child can't stop hitting their sibling. They know it's wrong, but in the moment, they just can't stop and control themselves. Here's why. We teach them what they need to do, but we don't teach them how they need to do it. Today, I'm going to walk you through a 5-step process that actually builds self-control from the inside out, starting with something parents completely got wrong. My name is Efrat Amira. I'm a mom of 3 boys and a parenting coach, and I'm passionate about integrating the tools and wisdom that I've learned in my own personal and spiritual development and implementing that in the way that I raise my kids. And that is what I love to share with you. So if you appreciate this knowledge, please press that like button so other parents can find it as well. Now let's get started. All of us want to raise responsible kids that have self-control and self-regulation. We have to remember that the self-control and the self-regulation comes first before the responsibility. Because if we want to be able to make responsible choices, we want to be able to make our choices from the front area of our brain that is responsible for our rational thinking, and we don't want to make our decisions coming from our emotions. So in order to raise responsible children, we have to first raise children that have the ability to control themselves and control their feelings and to self-regulate. When they will be able to do that, they also will be able to make good choices in their life because their choices are not going to come from their emotions, but from their rational mind. In another video, you will find my personal techniques that help me self-regulate as a parent so that I can show up for my kids and help them regulate themselves. You can check out that video up here. Now let's start with the first step with helping our kids create more self-control. The first thing is that we don't want to give up our boundaries. Many times because our kids overreacting to a boundary that we are setting, we tend to just drop the boundary because there is so much fuss, so much crying, such big drama, and that can be very overwhelming for us as parents. So sometimes we just say, okay, let's let him just have what he wants so that I don't have to deal with all those emotions. But that's a big mistake because we have to teach our children that frustration is part of life, but we have to teach them how to deal with that frustration. So we don't want to give up our boundaries. Our boundaries are there to teach them what real life is actually about. And real life is not about getting what you want every moment and getting your way with things. So the next step after we decided not to give up on our boundaries is first of all to address the feelings. We want to address the feelings we are having, and we want to address the feelings that our children are having. When a boundary is set and our children are frustrated with something that they can't have or with us, then we have to remember that their logical mind isn't working and they can't make good decisions in the moment, so we have to help calm them down. We help calm them down by first of all regulating ourselves. We have to make sure that our nervous system is regulated so that we can help them regulate their own nervous system. This process is a process that is called co-regulation. Human beings are not born with the ability to regulate themselves. This is something that they need to learn with repetition, with more and more practice. And the way that they learn it is by co-regulating with their parent. So when they get overwhelmed, their parent is there to help them calm down. And when we do this over and over again, in time, they learn to regulate themselves. So the first step is we have to address the feelings, as I said. So first of all, we go to our children and we make sure that we regulate ourselves, that we are calm, we're taking deep breath, we are maybe drinking some water, we maybe are splashing water on our faces and grounding ourselves back to the moment and then going to our children. It can be it can actually be also simultaneously. It doesn't have to be step after step. But we go to our children and we hug them. We talk in a soothing voice to them. We go down to their ground and we look them in the eyes in a soft way, and we show them that everything is okay. They are safe. The world is not falling apart right now. And we don't do anything before the emotions calm down. We don't speak. We don't try to find solutions. We just focus on the emotions first. Nothing has to be solved right now. So we go to them, we calm ourselves down, we calm them down, we do the process of co-regulation. One very important point is that we don't want to be tempted to soothe our children with something external, like giving them a screen, like giving them something to eat, something sweet, like distracting themselves from their emotions. Because the thing is that we have to think long term here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to teach our kids self-regulation tools. We want them to be able, as they grow up, to self-regulate themselves. If we skip the part of co-regulation and we don't teach them how to soothe themselves, how to regulate their emotions, they won't learn. So first of all, it may very well be that the stress is still in the body, although they're watching a screen right now and they seem that they're calm from the outside. The second thing is that we're teaching them that whenever they're overwhelmed with emotion, they have to take something external in order to regulate themselves, in order to soothe themselves. And this very easily, as they grow up, can turn into an addiction, into drug addiction, alcohol addiction, shopping addiction, screen addiction, of course. What we're trying to do is to teach them real self-regulation, something that comes from the inside out, not something that comes externally, so they won't have to be dependent on anything other than themselves to regulate themselves and to make good choices in life. Now, this process is something that we need to do with our kids, whether they're 6 weeks old, 6 months old, 6 years old, 16, all of their childhood, because it takes a very long time for humans to mature. Our brain matures fully only when we are 24 years old. So it takes repetition after repetition after repetition to really teach ourselves how to be in charge of our emotions, how to be sound decision-making adults. The thing is that the more we do this as they are young, the easier it will be to do this when they grow up. So if you haven't started co-regulating with your child up until now, it's never too late. Even adults co-regulate with each other. Start this process with your child. Even if they're older and you think that there is no chance to help them self-regulate anymore, there is always a chance. We as humans are very malleable and we can change. Our nervous system can learn how to regulate. Our nervous system can learn how to calm itself down. So start this process even if your child is older. If your children are younger, on the other hand, the more you do it right now, the easier it will get as they grow up. Okay, so after the parent and the child are both regulated, the emotions are out of our way, we can tap into our rational mind and make good decisions. Now it's time to understand what the problem is and how we can solve it. And we can start to have communication, talk with our children. Why did they get upset? What do they need? What are they expecting? What are we expecting? Have a calm conversation. We should never have a conversation before we got to that state where everybody is regulated and calm. You know, I had a time with my middle child where we would butt heads all the time. And I would recognize that instead of waiting until everybody's calmed down, I would try to communicate with him in the moment where he needed something from me. And that just escalates very, very quickly. I easily got to a point where I said things that I really regretted afterwards. So I'm really trying to be mindful of not going into those places with him where he's triggering me and I'm trying to communicate with him at the same time. I never communicate anything. So if there is something that he wants from me and if there is a boundary that I said that he doesn't like, I wait until everybody's calm and only then I start to communicate with him. It changed the way that we interact tremendously. Try it. It really helps no matter how old your children are. The next thing is that when you're trying to come up with a solution to a situation that you have, let your child lead the way. Let them come up with the solutions that they think can work. You are there to help to guide them and to coach them while they're doing it, but as much as you can, put the responsibility on them to solve the issue, to solve their own problems. We need to remember that the more we repeat this process with our children, the more they will learn in their own life to regulate their emotions and make sound decisions when their rational brain is online. Another important factor in order to help our children make responsible decisions is to have a strong family culture in our home so that our kids will learn what is right and what is wrong. Check out another episode where I talk exactly about that. You can find the link up here.